So welcome on in, guys. Three bold takes. This is the Week 7 overreactions. As you know, we have a special guest every single week for overreactions. And this week, it's one of my old buddies named Justin. Actually worked with him a long time ago. So, Justin, I appreciate you coming on, man. This should be a lot of fun. We have a lot of hot topics for you. So the next overreaction that we have, and I don't really know if it's specifically from Week 7 in particular, just throughout 7 weeks of football. Justin has one from the Pac-12. So, Justin, go ahead and explain your theories with the Pac-12.
So originally I was thinking that they might be overrated just because of the teams that we see at the top. Washington, you have USC, you have Oregon, these teams that are just boat racing teams most weeks. And I tried to find a gap in these statistics, but when I looked at it, I could not find anything. Some stats I have here. They have the conference, Pac-12 has 3 teams in the top 25 in total defense. There's only 2 conferences in the country that have more. 3 teams in the top 10 in total offense. That's more than anybody in the country. They have 5 teams in the top 10 in passing offense, 7 of which in the top 50. 4 quarterbacks in the top 6 in passing touchdowns, 5 QBs in the top 15 in total offense. And for a defensive stat, they have 4 players across the conference in the top 15 in sacks, which is tied for more than anybody in the country. So traditionally the Pac-12 is offense, 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 offense. If they don't score, they're not winning the game, right? Usually that's how it goes. If they don't score 50, they're going to lose. But you see, like I said, 3 teams in the top 25 in total defense. There's only 2 conferences with better stats than that. And they have 4 individual players across the conference in the top 15 in sacks, which is top most in the country. I think that just all around, all over the ball, not to mention they have 3 quarterbacks that are probably going to go 1, 2, 3 in New York for the Heisman. And I think there's substance to that. I don't know. I just think top to bottom, when you look at the best team and the worst team, I think that they are outside of Colorado, of course, but I think from top to bottom, I think that they're just the most evenly stacked conference in the country. If not, maybe the second. Maybe you have some arguments with the Big Ten and maybe the SEC coming around later in the season. But I think as of right now, I think they're 1 or 2 best conferences in the country.
Yeah, I'll go first. I don't disagree with that. I think they might be the best conference in the country. Period. At least at this point, I think you've got 2 really, really good teams in Washington and Oregon that just put on a great game. I think Oregon State is outperforming expectation for this season. They're what you would want them to be for people that were hyping them up in the preseason. UCLA is kind of even for me. Utah is playing really good football, and imagine what they could be with Cam Rising if they like. So they're still playing good, and they don't have him. And then even the bad teams, like let's take a look at the Pac-12 in the past and now. Say what you want, Colorado's a better product than they've been in ever. They're not as good as the hype train has them, but they're better than they've been. Like you got to play Colorado now. I think Arizona State is better than they've been over the past few years. Arizona's improved. Cal is. I don't watch Cal. I'm gonna be honest. I don't.
I don't think anybody watches Cal.
But outside of that, like really, really good football being played in the Pac-12 this year. And I think if weird chaos scenario, if any conference has the best chance of getting a 2-loss team in, I think it is the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with that statement personally. About the 2-loss team, and it goes back to what we think is completely different than what the committee thinks, right? The committee is not going to put a 2-loss Pac-12 team in the playoffs, and I wouldn't either.
Let me phrase it. When I say absolute chaos, I don't see a 2-loss team ever making it in. The only way you do is as a 2-loss conference champion in a season where just everybody's losing all the time. The chances of that happening this year are slim to none because there's so many teams that still have everything in front of them.
Well, but, also it's this year a bust because the Pac-12 is no more. So Which I also wanted to bring that up. Like it's kind of, I don't want to say ironic, but it's like a farewell type thing. You know, like the Pac-12 is honestly the most fun conference to watch. I mean, I think everybody can probably agree with that. And they're no more after this year, so it's like their farewell tour. You know, they may make the playoffs, they may not, but you know, and also actually, I may have to eat my crow with what I just said. Washington actually had more first place votes to be number one in the country than Ohio State and Florida State after last week. So stock is rising in the Pac-12. I wish Cam Rising was rising in the Pac-12, but that's beside the point. I agree. There are a lot of really, really good teams in the Pac-12. There's only two teams, in my opinion, that you know I would line up against a Texas or, you know, in Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, and think they actually have a chance. There's only two. But with that in mind, though, USC is still a really good team. Like they just got beat by Notre Dame, right? We all know that. But I still think they're a really good football team. That's a long way to travel, right? I mean, from California all the way to Notre Dame, that's just a long way to go. So that's a weird game by itself. But it is sad, and it is a very good conference that has been underrated for the past, you know, 10 years or whatever you want to throw out there. And it's starting to become fun again, and it is sad that it's going to be no more. Just
I don't have anything.
okay.
Chase.
Chase, sorry.
Yeah. My bad. Underrated for this year, I definitely think so. Because the past few years, I've actually equated the Pac-12 from top to bottom a lot like the ACC, and that they just haven't been great. There's a couple good ones at the top, but from the middle pack to the end, it's not very great. But this year, it's a very sound conference. Even Arizona, like Quinn mentioned, I think they're 1-5, 2-4, something like that, right? They've played close games against Washington and USC, sent USC to two double overtime and everything. So they're playing quality ball, even though the record doesn't fully show it. I'm going to go ahead and fully say from a year from now, I'm going to go ahead and give a futuristic 3 bold takes, right? I'm going to give one. I think within 2 years, Washington or Oregon wins a Big Ten title, because I think that they have both looked very good, and they have honestly 2 of the best coaches in the entire nation. I think in DeBoer and then Lanning. I think they are really going to move soundly over. The traveling thing is going to be weird. I wonder how much that'll actually affect them moving into the Big Ten and playing those kind of games. But I do see that one of those 2 teams could win a Big Ten title within 2 years of being in the conference, depending on how that shapes out. But I think they are both quality teams. Lanning's built a great defense. We haven't really mentioned Lanning about this past game, but he needs to kind of clear up how he's going to coach. And then DeBoer he's 17-2 at Washington, 11-2 last year, 6-0 this year so far. Has a kid that is playing Heisman level ball. They are great coaches and have sound teams. I think they're going to make a great transition into the Big Ten. So again, like Freddie said, sad to see it have to depart after this year as well.
I'm going to be quite honest with you. I do not see Washington winning a Big Ten championship in 2 years.
Yeah, I had to bite my tongue on that, but I mean, maybe we'll see.
Maybe
it's exciting to see him play.
You see Penn State. I'm sorry. Oh,
you mean to tell me that you'd pick Washington to beat Penn State?
Yep. Right now. The only ones I'm questioning are Ohio State and Michigan. That's the only ones I'm questioning. Come on, we know this. We got to quit arguing about Penn State on here. Pisses me off too much.
I mean, you're the one that brings it up. You're the one that's saying that Washington and Oregon would win the Big Ten in 2 years. You brought it up.
Thinking about Penn State.
Can I just add something to the Pac-12 conversation real quick?
Please do.
If also looking at this, if there's ever anybody that comes to you and tells you why the transfer portal is a bad thing in college football, just show them this year in the Pac-12. Because if you look at the top teams, Washington, USC, Oregon State, Oregon, all of them have transfer quarterbacks. Washington's Michael Penix is from Indiana. USC, Caleb Williams came from Oklahoma. Oregon State, DJ Uiagalelei came from Clemson. Oregon, Bo Nix is from Auburn. And even Colorado, Shedeur Sanders came from Jackson State. They're all transfer quarterbacks, and they're all statistically, maybe not record wise with Colorado, but statistically, they're all top 10, top 15 in the country. And they made the conference better, and none of them started where they're at right now. So, I mean, I just think the transfer portal is put the Pac-12 where they are right now.
That's a good point.
I completely agree. I think it's also the thing that's made the ACC as competitive as it is. You didn't make it at a big school, and now you can go to a good university on the East Coast and get a degree and play football through like 5 years.
Yeah.
I think it's made the ACC better too. Yeah, I'd shut down any people that think NIL is bad.
Yeah.
I think it's made the sport more competitive.
Oh, it for sure has. I mean, you just look at records of people that predict college football games. Like not even us. Like we suck, right? Like we're amateurs. But even if you go on game day and look at their records, it's not as good as it used to be because you never know game to game who's actually going to win a football game. And even Vegas has the spreads closer together now. You don't see a lot of 17-plus spreads anymore when it's a reputable university versus anybody. It's crazy. Guys, thanks for watching. That's been our Week 7 overreactions. I appreciate you joining. Justin, thanks for coming on the show. You've been great. Hopefully we can have you back maybe during bowl season. Guys, thanks for watching and listening. It's been 3 Bold Takes. I'm Freddie. I've been joined with Chase and Quinn. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share to your friends, and we will see you guys with a lot of videos this week.